Greetings viewers, Eric the Car Guy here, also known as ETCG1 on this channel. And here on ETCG1, we like to wish you a happy birthday. So if it's your birthday, I want to personally wish you a happy birthday. And now we've gotten the pleasantries out of the way, let's get to the topic at hand. And that is methanol, ethanol, gasoline. Yesterday, I had a little bit of extra time and I watched myself a movie, and that movie was called Pump. And the premise of the movie was that the oil companies or the people that manufacture fuels have basically made it so that you only have one choice when you go to a gas station here in the United States. In other countries, in particular Brazil that they pointed out, they made it so that people had a choice of the type of fuel that they would use, whether they would use gasoline or ethanol. And they've let the market decide. But the premise of the movie was that the oil companies, dating all the way back to Rockefeller, had made it so that these fuels were not available to you. Now, I'm sure that a lot of you have strong feelings about ethanol or methanol or any fuels aside from gasoline, and I'm sure they're founded in your personal experiences. But the point I'm trying to make with this video is, I like the idea of having the choice of saying, hey, I want to run ethanol, I want to run methanol in my car. In many cases, there aren't too many alterations that need to be done to your vehicle in order to run these other fuels. In fact, flex fuel vehicles are designed to run on different levels of ethanol. The way they do it, some have a sensor that actually senses the type of fuel or the density of the fuel. I have to read up and find out exactly how this is done. But some of them use some high-tech sensors to figure out what type of fuel is being run, and it adjusts the fuel mixture accordingly. Because really, if you think about it, with fuel injection, you have complete control of the amount of fuel that's going into that engine, and at what time it happens, and for the duration of the time that you're adding that fuel. So you have the ability to do that. Now it's just, and you also have the ability to change ignition timing. So with those things, you're able to run your vehicle on other fuels aside from gasoline, mainly methanol and ethanol is what they're talking about. This got me thinking, hey, this could be a good ETCG1 discussion, either here or over at ericthecarguy.com. There'll be a link in the description to that discussion. But it's got the wheels turning in my mind, and the thing I keep coming back to is, I'm not saying I'm an ethanol or a methanol lover. I've got a good friend, MPG-O-Matic, Daniel Gray, who has a channel, MPG-O-Matic. I'll put a link in the description to him, and he's a huge advocate of using ethanol. And some people say, well, don't use food for fuel, blah, 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 but there's lots of different things you can use to do. Basically what it is moonshine. Bottom line, that's what it is. And they also demonstrate in the movie how it burns cleaner. Now, there's plus and minuses to everything. It's just how physics works. I realize that. But once again, I keep coming back to the overall premise of the movie, which was, at the end of the day, wouldn't it be nice to have a choice? Let's not forget about electric vehicles as also an alternative. And Tesla Motors has worked pretty hard in developing an infrastructure. That's the biggest issue with electric vehicles, is having an infrastructure available to those people that are using electric vehicles. Because electric vehicles, when the batteries die, hey, it's worse than when you run out of gas. I mean, when you run out of gas, you fill it up with gas, you start it up, you go. If your battery runs dead, well, you have to recharge the battery, and you're going to be there a while. So there's a drawback to electric vehicles. However, I think in urban situations, electric vehicles are an ideal solution as far as the day-to-day. If you have to travel around the city and you're not using public transportation, that's I think is a great way to go. Also, they mentioned trolley cars. Trolley cars used to be very prevalent in the United States, and they went so far as to get rid of them all and burn them. They had parties where they burned them. And the oil companies were behind this and made Mr. Rockefeller a very rich man. And it's interesting how we used to have one of the better public transportation systems in this country up until about the 1930s. And they're like, no, we're going to do something different with those roads. Or, you know, I'm sure there were other reasons. I wasn't alive back then, but looking at it now, it looks suspiciously like the oil companies were like, hey, people are going to be driving more, and we have something to sell them, and there's money to be made. Okay, that's the other end of capitalism. But the end of capitalism I'm talking about is the one where the market decides what they want, rather than having some big conglomerate decide. I have trouble with this because I have friends at Shell. I have friends at Valvoline. You know, I have friends at some of these major petroleum producers, and I like them. I don't see them as evil people at all. I see them as people trying to make a living and trying to do the best they can at it. So I don't see them that way. What I see is a mixed view, if you will. I'm having trouble coming up with a solid opinion on this, and I apologize for that. But I am interested in what discussion ensues in the comments below, and also over at ericthecarguy.com. I'm interested in what you have to say in your take on all of this. That discussion, links in the description to all the stuff that I mentioned, including some additional information to help you. If you have automotive questions, I'd ask you to head over to ericthecarguy.com. Welcome video there to tell you about the stuff we have to help you. If you wish to connect with me socially, there's Google+, Facebook, Twitter, also Instagram, links below. Close each of my videos, including ETCG1, with be safe, have fun, stay dirty, and I will see you next time.